Hello boys and girls, good afternoon and welcome to Great English Language for grade 6 to 7. Good afternoon, Miss Alicia, and good afternoon, my dear. Could you tell me your name?
Azaria.
Azaria. So Alicia and Azaria. So I'm filling in Azaria from Miss Sarius, who is out this week. And last Monday, we looked at what, Azaria?
Adjectives, pronouns, nouns, and
Nouns. Adjectives and has to do with how we taste, see, all of those sensory details. And we did that as a groundwork or as a foundation for today's lesson, which is descriptive writing. So we're going to go up on the slide and then we're going to talk about what descriptive writing is. So before we go into what I have for you, what is descriptive writing? So we'll start with Alicia and Azaria. So we'll start with Azaria. What do you think descriptive writing is about? Have you done it before?
I can't remember.
Can't remember. So should we go to Alicia then? All right, Alicia. Yes?
Descriptive writing is describing a person, like describing something while writing like a paragraph about the person and writing important details.
Yes, and also what you've done is to speak specifically to describing a person, and I think that's what you did when we met on Monday in school. Yes. Yes. So the teachers are on par with the program that we're running. Yes. Good. So let's look on the board. It has this type of writing describes not just the person Azaria, but an object or situation using the 5 senses. So see why we had to do the 5 senses the last class, so that we build. So I trust that you were able to look at the lesson so that you were able to follow. No, but we'll talk about that. It's done vividly and clearly so that the reader can be a part of the experience. So when we write our descriptive piece, it must be so vivid and clear that as readers we're able to hear the sounds, we're able to see the action, we're able to smell let's say they're cooking something. The words that we use must arouse the reader's sense of smell, their sense of touch, their sense of sight, their sense of taste, and then their sense of hearing. All right? So that is what we must be able to do when we use descriptive writing. All right? So descriptive writing is also similar. All right? It's also similar but very different to narrative writing. And why is that? Because narrative writing, and that's the writing that tells a story, yes? Type of writing that tells a story. And in narrative writing, to understand the difference, the goal is to create an interesting plot to engage the reader. So we want to captivate our readers. And so we're going to create this plot. The story unfolds in such a way that our readers are drawn in. But in descriptive writing, the focus is on the detail of the event rather than moving the plot forward. All right? So we focus on one event rather than how the story flows, which is narrative. All right? So let's look at now some features for the descriptive writing. And the first thing is that this type of writing can be... Oh, I didn't change here. All right. So the first thing is that this type of writing can be very objective. And what that means is that when we're writing objectively, we're using facts and scientific writing. Okay? So we have facts and we are using scientific writing if we are writing objectively. If we are being subjective, which this type of writing allows us to do as well, it's based on creative writing. For instance, personal, opinion, intuitions, and emotions. So we can be creative and write our own descriptive piece. And when we do that, that type of descriptive writing is subjective. But when we use facts and scientific evidence, we are being objective. Does that make sense? Is that clear to you? Do you understand it? Sure? Azaria?
Yeah.
Yes. So I got the name right. And in this type of writing, we use figurative language and imagery. And Alicia, could you tell me another language that we use? We met it last class. I'll give you a hint.
We use sound.
What device caters for sound?
The onomatopoeia.
Yes, very good. Onomatopoeia. So when we talk about figurative language, those are some of the things that we're talking about, yes? And what they do is that they help to enhance our writing, because when we use onomatopoeia, remember, Azaria, just in the event you didn't know, onomatopoeias are it's a figurative language that makes use of words that gives a sound effect. So things like boom. Can you hear a sound coming from such a word?
Yeah.
Crash. Rumble. Can you hear sounds coming from those words?
Yeah.
So those words are figurative language, and what they do is that, remember, this type of writing appeals to our senses, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So when we hear that, boom, immediately as a reader, we think of what we are hearing. Yes? And we are placed, let's say for instance, we are describing a stormy night. When you hear boom, what do you think about?
Like
A firework.
Firework, not necessarily firework on a stormy night. A rumble, boom.
oops.
We usually hear it and we see the other one.
Thunder.
Thunder, and we see what?
The lightning.
Lightning. So when we use words, we create an image for our readers. Images that usually appeal to one or more of the senses. Yes?
Yeah.
Then, of course, we have to make use of this type of writing makes use of the 5 senses. Sense of sight, smell, taste, touch, and hearing. So instead of tasting, it should have been hearing. Yes?
Yeah.
Hearing. And then, we're not done there yet. We still have got some other thing. And this is one of the most important part of the descriptive writing. It's logical. So what that means is that if we're describing, let's say we're describing this room, we've got to be logical about it. We can't start from the table and then go to the wall and then come back to the table and then go back to the wall and then go to the set there and then come back to the table. What are we going to do if we do that?
We're gonna be going around.
So imagine reading a piece where the writer starts to describe Azaria, describe this table, and then the writer goes to describe this chair briefly, and then comes back to tell us a little about what's happening on the table, and then the writer moves to this one, and then the writer comes back to talk about this chair, and then the writer moves to the wall. Are you going to be able to follow and have like a solid picture? Or are you able to picture clearly the image that the writer is trying to create?
No.
No? Why not?
Because she's going all over the place.
All over the place, and so it makes it very confusing, don't you think?
Yeah.
To follow. And so that is why when we're doing descriptive writing, we have to be logical. We have to start with an introduction, as stated here, and that introduction that we're going to start with must gather the reader, must grasp the reader's attention, right? Then we want to have a body, And this is descriptive writing. Yes, when we're writing a descriptive piece, we want to convey thoughts and feelings, and we want to make use of the sensory details. And then we want to have a conclusion. So we want to have order to our writing. We don't want to be all over the place. And that is why when we're describing people, we can start. Can we start with, if we say we start with, and so this logical does not necessarily only apply to if we're discussing an event or so. It applies to all the forms of the descriptive piece. Because if we're describing, let's say you're describing me, right? And where do you think that you will start from? What will make sense in your descriptive, in your description?
Your personality.
Personality, yeah.
How you look.
How you look, your physical appearance. So you got to decide which one you want to start with, yeah? So you got to decide whether you're going to do personality or you're going to do looks and physical appearance, because those are the two premises that we do descriptive writing of a person on. But more than that, even when we're doing the physical appearance, we can't start with, we've got to pick a point and move down. So we can start with the hair and then come down. So as to what we're doing at the end of the day is to make sure that our readers are able to follow what we're doing, right? So you can start with, let's say you start with my hair. My hair is what, a little bit fuzzy today. And then you go to my toes, and then you come back to the clothes I'm wearing, right? You'll do what? Again, you'll confuse the reader, and you will not make clear description. And what we want to do is to make sure that when we are writing, people can follow our description. Yes? And they can follow our descriptive writing. So it must be logical. There must be a clear outline. So if we're going to start, and that goes for a scene as well, you've got to decide whether you're going to start with the outside of the space and then come in and zoom to the, or you're going to start with the inside and then move off, right? So as to create an image. At the end of the day, we want our readers to be engaged and to be involved and a part of the process as they are reading. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yes, because we Azari said no. That's all right, Azari. You can be honest. All right. And then we have use of adjectives, and we spent a lot of time establishing why adjectives are important, because we're describing what? We're describing a place, a person, or a scene, or an event, and all of those things constitute one or the other, a noun or a pronoun. We can also use action words, which are verbs, and we can also use adverbs to describe those, to modify those verbs. Yes? So one of the most important things at the end of the day is to remember that part of speech, stitching in this here, learning points, parts of speech are very important. Yes? Because you see they're coming in all the different types of writing, in all of language, they come in. Alright? And finally, we use the use of transitional words. Things like below, above, suddenly, during. So these are what we call transitional words. And we have to use transitional words because we have a logical pattern. So as we move on, we want to transition from one thing to another. And our transitional words help us to be logical writers. All right? Okay, so let's examine quickly. We've come to the end of the presentation. Let's examine a bit of things, a piece of reading that will allow us to, okay, clearly I don't know where I'm going. A bit of writing. All right. Oh, we found it. All right, so let's see. We are reading a passage, a descriptive passage titled at the market. And it should come up on the screen. Pardon. I'm not sure why it's not coming up. Close this. What else? So, I've got to get some assistance, perhaps, with the guys coming in the studio too. Alright. So the technician is coming because I don't seem to know where to go right now. Good, but in our descriptive piece that we're about to, while we read, we're looking to see whether or not the writer was able to, use descriptive words, whether the piece of information that we have, whether it's presented in a logical manner, all right, whether or not the writer we're able to, as readers, have a vivid picture of what is given to or what is presented to us. So we are reading with the expectation, bearing in mind, hoping to see and to determine as readers whether this piece that we're examining here is a descriptive piece, whether it follows the elements of descriptive writing. All right. And we are, yes. Yes, there we go. So I'm going to read here. And okay. Right, good. So we are reading at the market. There were 2 grand markets each year, on Holy Thursday and Saturday before Christmas Day. In the ordinary year round trading, the near crossroads would do, but Grand Market meant a journey to the largest town in the country, to Falmouth, Montego Bay, Lucia, Salamar, or the lively little one at Green Island. From Whittenhorn and from Foam, from Cosby and the Letty, they came walking behind their donkeys and mules. Hampers high loaded with the season's good. Out of Haddington and Pondside, from Anervie and from Bickersteth, out of Flagstaff and Flamstead, from Askinish and Shelfwood, they came walking to the lovely people of the country. So, take a minute to look at the picture, and we're going to talk about whether this picture is applicable to the description that is given. Yes? The big striding plowmen came with their small black women like wood flies and gem in the sun. And I'm not sure. Pretty all over that. Oh, imagine. I'm not sure where. From the bottom. Where? Can I do it? Mm-hmm. Scroll the mouse straight across. No, not that one. I'm on this. It's not giving me anything. Mm-hmm. Oh, we're still at the same screen. Yes, we're still at the same. Okay, let's see here, girls. Oh, here we go. Okay. Are we able to see?
Yeah.
Yes. So we're continuing. You saw Lucius yam larger than an elephant's hoof, potatoes dry and sweet as during the year of Manpilar. You saw straw hats in all the colors of the rainbow, goatskin boots, pliable as poetry, cans of molasses, a glittering like jewels, bambies baked to the deep brown of dust, oranges golden as the morning, flat mullet from the cabarita pool, and the corn-fed chicken plucked and tucked for the table. They came out onto the rich revival hymns swinging down the road from all the great estates. They came like kings and queens, walking tall that day in their ancient bloods. Mr. Jonah's family had chosen Green Islands that year. Last year, they had gone to Montego Bay. They found a nice position for their stall near the edge of the open marketplace. Mr. Jonas bought some fine pieces, which his cunning hand had made from cedar and mahogany, small stools, pepper mortars, and a table or two. From her kitchen garden, his wife had culled her cucumbers and scallions, onions, and tiny pink tomatoes, so excellent for soup. Elizabeth had laid out her rata coffee with considerable pride. The boys, conscious of their mild disgrace in not having any good of their own for sale, were very busily helpful. They swept the stall area clean and worked hard at laying out the wares. Mr. Jonas watched them with a twinkle of amusement in his eyes. Later, he would give them some coin to spend at the candy stalls. Business was, of course, good. Christmas was in the air, and everybody brought and sold with zest. Shouts and laughter echoed through the market. The fife and drum band played for the scores of couples, young and old, who found time to quadrille. From Peter of Mount Ephraim by Vic Reed. All right, so let's examine what. Did you see anything jumping out at you? Any descriptive piece? Especially on this page. Did you see anything that appealed to any use of maybe adjectives, any use of things that would appeal to the senses. Alicia seemed to want to respond.
The part where Mr. Jonas said, "Watch them with a twinkle of amusement in his eyes," describing how they watched him.
How they watched him, or how he watched them?
How he watched.
So we're able to see he is happy with how they would have done their work. Yes?
Yes.
What about you, Azaria? What about, let's look at the first paragraph on this slide. You saw Lucia's yam larger than an elephant's hoof. Two things there. One, we're able to see that this is a very small yam, right? Is it?
No.
No, because elephants are usually very large animals, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. So two things. One, using, of course, using words to appeal to the reader's sense of what? Sight. Yes, because we can picture this very big yam, isn't that so? And then also the use of figurative language, because he is comparing the yam to elephant hooves. So that would be a comparison, right? And that's a metaphor. So we're making use of the figurative language there, and we're also doing it in such a way that we appeal to the writer's sense of sight. Look at the other ones. Potatoes dry and sweet, as during the year of Mount Pillar, you saw straw hats in all colors of the rainbow. So can we talk about what colors we might be seeing?
Orange.
What are the colors of the rainbow? That's another very interesting question. Yeah, so we got red, we got orange, we got yellow, green, blue, purple, right? So we can picture, because they're comparing it to the rainbow, we can picture that there's a variety of hats, colorful hats. So again, appealing to the sense of sight. Yes. Goat skin boots, pliable as poetry. So cans of molasses, a glittering like jewel. So have you ever had molasses?
Yeah.
Yes, it's very, very, very sweet. And they usually say in Guyanese term that we use molasses when we have a heavy, heavy cold.
Yeah.
Right? So it helps to get rid of the cold. But so what we're seeing, we can look throughout this passage and see strong evidence of the descriptive writing, because they're using words, they're making use of adjectives, right? They're making use of action word, because we see the people are moving. It's not so. They had chosen Great Island last year. Now they've come to Montego Bay. No, they've chosen Green Island that year. So which means this year, and last year they had gone. So we're seeing action. Do you see? And then earlier we see that the women are gathering, and the men, the passage starts with the journey of the people. Isn't that so? Yeah. Coming from afar, coming and talking about why this market day was such an important day. So we have action there too, right? So all the elements we are seeing reflected in this piece. So what I want for you to do for homework, seeing that we're already out of time, is to think about a market in your area. Can you think? Have you ever been to the market? That should have been my first question.
Yeah.
You've both been to the market before,
yeah.
On a regular market day or during the week, because those are two different experiences. Do we agree?
Yeah.
If we go to the market on a Monday, it's different from if we go to the market probably if the market day is a Sunday or a Saturday, right? Because it's a bigger thing when it's that market day, right? So for homework, what I want you to do is to think about, if you can, because I think Miss Monica will see you on Tuesday. Go to the market and see, observe the Quran. Pick up all of the images that you can draw in. Think about what you're hearing. And you want your readers to hear the same thing that you're hearing. So tell me quickly about what you might hear in the market.
People screaming.
People scream. What are they saying? Buy me out, let me shut my mouth. What are some of the things that they might be saying to get you in to buy? Come buy a potato, come buy. So if you were to do a market scene, let me hear the two of you. You're convincing. Come, Alia, Alicia, you are the buyer, and Azari is the seller. Let's hear you. Engage each other in a market conversation. They're laughing. Their engagement in the market scene is laughing. Nobody's going to buy anything, and you're not going to be able to sell anything. So think about when you go to the market, what you hear, what you see, what you smell, right? When you look at the bananas and the apples and the pear and the peach and something that you really like and it's nicely displayed, how does that what does it do to your taste bud?
It makes you want to buy it.
You want to buy it based on how it's nicely arranged. And if you're passing by Starbucks, there's the fruit place where we have this really, for me, it takes a lot for me to pass straight, right? So think about what you hear, what you see, what you can touch, right? What you can taste based on what's appearing, how it's tantalizing your taste buds, and then think about what you smell. How does it smell? Does it have the same smell as a regular day when especially if you come out early in the morning, it's fresh and take that all into consideration and then write your paragraph as though you are there and you want your reader to have the same experience that you have had when you visit a Guyanese market. Sounds about fun to do?
Yeah.
All right. So that's a wrap on our lesson for today, ladies. Thank you so much for joining me. As always, it's always a pleasure to meet new students and to make new friends. So thank you for those who have joined us today. Today we've looked at descriptive writing, and please stay tuned for math. I will see you next week.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Critical Math Grade 6 to 7. And today we are looking at statistics. More specifically, we are looking at tally charts or tally marks and frequency tables. All right. So the thing is, in statistics, right? What you try to do is more or less you're collecting information, right? And you collect information for various reasons, right? And the information you collect, right? Sometimes you may want to find out about something, right? And later on, as you will find out later, in the world, right? The information collected is used to predict certain outcomes later and so forth, right? So in our class today, we have a little experiment that we're going to be going through as it relates to bring out the concept of tally marks and frequency tables. And so tally marks are basically representation in the form of, we're going to use the term sticks, all right, to represent numbers. All right, so if you look at our screen today, now 1 is represented by, see, 1 stroke or 1 stick. So if I use the term stick, it's going to stick right in your memory. 2, you see 2 sticks or 2 strokes?
Yeah.
So the number 3 is represented with 3 strokes. 4 strokes. What do you notice about the 5th stroke?
It's going straight.
So you see it's across?
Yeah.
So it's like a bundle. Alright, so that bundle there represents 5. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you have 1 going across that makes 5. So in other words, if I want to represent 6, right? 6 would be the bundle of 5, which is the 4 strokes, and the 1 across, and an extra 1. So that's how we represent 6. So let's say you had to represent 8. How would you represent 8? The number 8.
4 strokes and 1 across. Then
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How many more you need to put?
3.
1, 2, 3. That's 8 in terms of tally. 10 would be
4 and 1 across.
right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
And then
6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So it's like it's like bundles of 5 if you check it out. Alright? So sometimes the information that you collect, the information is in the form of what we call raw data. It's not in any particular order, right? So if I ask you to sit by your window and to count the number of vehicles passing by, you get a piece of paper and you write down the vehicles as they pass. You might say a car, a bus, a bike, or something as you go along, right? So what we'll do, we'll set up a table, and so the information, so using the tally charts, you can set up a frequency table. Right? So you see the table here. So in this particular table, we're looking at somebody's favorite color, and we're exploring 5 different colors: yellow, red, blue, green, and pink. And notice the 4 strokes or the 4 tally marks there. Right? So you see the number wise is the number 4. Right? The 5 tally strokes, the number is 5. Right? The 1 bundle of 5 and 1 is actually 6. 1 is representative of 1. And the pink color, right? How many strokes, how many tally sticks you're seeing here? 4. Alright, so you write the number 4. Alright? So 4 persons like yellow, 5 like red, 6 like blue, and only 1 like green. Right? And 4 like pink. So the table that you're actually looking at is what we call a frequency table. Right? So as somebody tells you what is their favorite color, you put a little stroke or a tally mark to represent 1 every time. Alright? Okay. So what we're going to do here, we have a little game. Well, it's not a game. A representative of something called Plinko. And so, notice you have numbers. Check it out. You have numbers. Look at the Plinko. You have numbers from 1 to 6, I think. Look at the front of the device. It's numbered from 1 to 6.
Yeah.
It's numbered from 1 to 6. So you set up a table like that.
No.
Right?
1 to 9.
1 to 9. I see 1 to 9. So you have numbers, and you need to write the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So go ahead and create a table that we're looking at. And here you're going to have tally. Right, tally. And here we're going to have, the term we're going to use here is frequency. Right? How many times probably a marble land on the number. Nice table. Hope we have enough space for our tally. Alright. So the frequency is going to tell you how many times probably a marble land on one of the specific numbers. Alright?
Mm-hmm.
Good. So we are going to alternate. Each one of you are going to... When you finish,
Almost.
Alright. So we're going to alternate moving, allowing a marble to roll down and see what number it lands on. Alright? And so with the information generated from our Plinko, we're going to use that to represent our frequency table, utilizing our tally chart. Right? Good. So who's going to go first? Rock, scissors, something. Come on. Alright, good. So you put it at the edge of the... Notice there's a nice smooth edge here. Let's put it at the edge here. Let it roll down. And let's see where it's going now. Where did it go?
9.
At 9. So at the number 9, we're on the tally, you put one stroke here, right? So we're going to start off. Let me use a black ink. One stroke. So you have 1. Alright. Alicia, your turn. You could use right in front here. Where did it land?
9.
9? Okay, so you put another stroke there. Go ahead, Azaria. Where is it?
1.
1. So make sure you put your tally there.
Okay.
9.
Yeah.
Let's go. Nice.
4.
4.
1, 2, 3. Yeah.
Is it at 4? Alright. Put your mark. Next. Nine. Interesting.
1.
1. Nice.
6.
Let's start next.
9.
So how are you? Remember, so that's our 5th stroke, right?
Yeah.
So how are you placing that?
Across.
Across. Great. Across. Right. Okay. Hmm.
3.
Okay. Alicia, your turn. So we have. Okay.
9 again.
Alright, so we're gonna go. So it's okay, so 9 again, right? So, alright, so I think we completed 12. So both of you did 6, 6, right?
Yeah.
Alright, so we'll do 3 more. So you go ahead. So you're counting 3 more.
9.
9. Okay.
7.
Okay. So you have 2 more. Okay, go ahead.
6.
Okay. Alicia.
1.
1.
Yeah.
Okay. So you go 1 more time, and then because you started first, right?
1.
1. Good. Alicia, your turn. Last turn.
9 again.
Okay. 9 is a favorite number. All right. So now, if you check this now, so we're applying numbers to the where our frequency column is. So so if you look at if you look at number 1, we have 4 tally. And how many marbles in there?
4.
4. So it corresponds, right? So you write the number 4 here. So you write the number 4 here. What about 2? Any marble land on 2?
No.
So that would be what?
0.
0. Great. The number 3?
1.
That's 1. 4.
1.
1. 5 would be
0.
0. Great. 6.
2.
2. 7.
1.
8.
0.
And our popular number.
9.
9 is 9. But you can see 9 is 9. So here you can have a total. So remember how many times you drop a ball or drop a marble.
I can't remember.
Alright, we've started out just now. Alright, so look at the frequency. So add up those values and see what is your total frequency. So that's going to give you an idea how many times, right? One of the marbles, you actually release a marble at the top there.
What are 18 at the bottom?
18?
Yeah.
18 times. So you had 9 chances, right? And she also had 9 chances. Remember? 6. You had 6 each. So you see the total number of times that you release a ball in total was 19 times. So, sorry, 18 times. So 18 is going to give you your total frequency. Think you follow? So this is how you can interpret the information as well. So so on the number 1, right? The ball land on. There were 4 times. 4 times one of the marbles land on the number 1, right? And the number 2, no marble land on the number 2. Also, you have the number 5, no marble land on the number 5, and 8 as well, right? Good. So a marble land on the number 3 how many times?
1 time.
1 time. 4,
Once.
1 time. 6,
2.
2 times. Number 7,
1 time.
1 time. And the number 9,
9
9
times.
times. So 9 is the most popular. Right? You could say 9 is the most popular there. Now the reason why we allow the marble to roll from the top there is that, right? So if you release it from the middle, we don't want to have any kind of bias happening. So you may want the marble to land probably within a number in the middle. So see, when you allow the marble to roll down the edge, right, it gives it an equal chance of falling on any of the numbers. So that would take us into another concept called probability, right? So by doing this little simple experiment, right, so we've learned about tally, right? So from the little game that we played, you can represent how the balls land on the numbers using the tally, and then you can set up your frequency table, and so you have the information collected there. All right, so there are lots of, so in terms of a fraction, right, you can also find percentages, isn't that so? So what would be the percentage of a ball falling on the number 9? See? So this kind of information you can have. So what would be the percentage? How many marbles land on the number 9?
9.
9. What is the total?
18.
18. And so how do you do that in terms of percentages?
50%.
So it's 9 over
18.
18, right? So the number 9 in terms of percentage. Right? So it's 9 over 18 times 100. How much is that?
Is it 450
So
over
9 out of 18 is what in terms of a fraction?
1.
1 over
919.
1 over 2. 1 over 2. Because 9 can go into 18 2 times. So half of 100, 50. So that would be, so 50% of the time, right? Marble land on the number 9. That's what it's saying. Right? So 50%. So although you throw the ball, you release the ball, the marble, you did 9, you did 9. So 50% of the time, the marble land on the number 9. So what about the number 1? Let's put number 1. What's the percentage of times? How many times the marble land on the number 9? Write it down, come on. What's the frequency for the number 1? 4?
Oh yeah.
4.
Oh.
Yes, it's 4. 4. So the number, I need to write it here because the screen is a big block there. So the number 1. Alright. It's 4 out of 80. Multiply by 100, so you get on the percentage wise how much is it. We did percentages before in our previous sessions, so it's gonna come back again. Even though we're looking at statistics in some sense, right? Great.
I'm not sure my answer is correct. I got 22.2%.
22.2%. You got the same thing?
Yeah.
Alright, let's see. You can cancel here. Alright, we're not penalizing you. 24 is 2. 2 can go into 18 9 times. So it's like if you have 2 times 100 divided by 9, right? So we go on another page. So it's 200 divided by 9. So let's see. So it's 200. We divided it by 9. 9 into 20.
2.
9 twos. 18. What's remaining? 2. Bring down the 0. 9 into 20. 2. 18. And 2 remaining. So you can either say, because notice we would have a 0 and bring it down all the time, right? So you can say, in terms of a fraction, it can be 22 and 2 over 9%. If you don't want to do the decimal aspect of it. Good? Any questions?
Yeah.
Alright, so let's see if we have some questions here on tally that we can answer as well. Alright. Abe counted the different colored cars that passed the school gate in 5 minutes with the following results. So black, red, green, red, white, blue. So you see how that's how we see the colors, right? As he passes school gate in 5 minutes, right? So make a tally of Abe's result. So how can you make a tally? Right? So make a tally of Abe's result and how many blue cars did he see? And we don't have time to make a tally, but how many blue? That's easy to pick up. How many blue? How many times you're seeing blue?
2.
2? So let's see if 2 is 2. Great. So you see how the tally is going to look? So red, you saw red 3 times, black 1 time, green once, white twice, blue twice, and yellow once. Alright, so total of 10. Great? Alright, one more question before we go. Alright, Betty recorded the letters of the alphabet in a sentence with the following results. It looks as though it is saying the sun set in the west. Right? The sun sets in the west. See, that is what it is saying, but everything is compact together. So make a tally of Betty's result. Alright, so we're now going to make a tally. So how many S's did she record?
4.
1. Azaria said 4. Alicia, you saying 4 as well?
Yeah.
4. Let's check it. And you see our tally. Alright, so the sun sets in the west. And notice the numbers that repeat themselves, the letters that repeat themselves. Notice they're in the letter column once.
Yeah.
Right? So you're only showing the repetition in terms of the frequency. Right? So they have 2 T's. So in the letter column you write T once. And so in the frequency, there are 4 T's. And so in the letter column you would write in the letter T once. But to account for 4 T's, your frequency is going to show 4. Right? And hence your tally likewise. Right? You have 4 symbols representing the number 4 in terms of tally. Alright? Any question?
No, miss.
Did you learn anything today?
Yeah.
What did you learn?
We learned how can the ways in which you can record the amount in tally and add them up and find the percentage of it.
Yeah, ways in which you can record information. So the reason why we put it in a table format or a frequency table format is for us to read it very easily. Because just now, remember, the sun sets in the west, it looks very confusing, right? So you have to look at it carefully. So it looks very confusing because all of the letters were closely packed together. So when you use a tally, And the frequency table is going to separate it a bit, and so you can actually read the information logically. So yeah, so you more or less so the frequency table is used to organize the information that you have available to you. Follow? All right, so thank you for being with us today as we looked at frequency tables and tally. Bye, see you next time.